Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Meta Cafe. Grab your cup of coffee or tea, sit back, and let's chat about the morning's astrology or the day's astrology. And it's really a fairly quiet day, so I fully expect that you and I will be done here in a very short period of time. Although I do have writing on my page, it's just one of those days that even in my writing for the week, I kind of combined Monday and Tuesday because there really wasn't a whole lot going on. I think we kind of deserve days like that. You know, we have lots going on later in the week, so today makes a day to be sort of quiet, or that the astrological landscape is quiet. There's certainly the potential in each one of your charts or into each one of your lives for stuff to be happening. So let's talk a little bit about what that is going to look like today. Good morning, Elisa. Good morning, Asa. Debbie Tibbetts-Tumiel, nice to see you. And Heather Scott, good morning to you as well. Great to see everybody out there so far. So we have the moon in Aries today, finishing up its transit through the sign of action and dynamism. And so we are in a go mode, if you will. This is a go day. The go day here is in a trine, the moon trining in a relationship. That means a smooth flow between these planets, the moon, the sun, and Venus. And you know that sun is our identity, our ego, our energy, our vitality, our life force. And Venus represents our values, our money, and our relationships. So we have the moon, our emotions, and our inner self working smoothly with our outer self, the sun, and with our values and money and relationships. So all in all, it seems like a very good day. Just a little word, though, later in the day, late into the evening, actually, for those of you on the East Coast, this will happen after midnight, so that puts it tomorrow for you guys. We have a very short void of course moon, 30 minutes from 9:07 p.m. West Coast time until 9:37 p.m. West Coast time, or midnight 07 to midnight 37 for those of you on the East Coast. So a short time. We're probably, winding down our days, so it's not going to affect the work we do probably. And likely it is just a time where you'll feel tired and ready to go to sleep, ready to do some spiritual work or ready to do some yoga, whatever it is you do to wind down your day. So when we have the moon in the later degrees of a sign, we are sort of finishing up the transit through that sign. Well, the sun and Venus are also in the latter degrees of Leo as they're preparing to move to Virgo later this week. Tomorrow, Venus moves. Friday, the sun moves, and we begin to build this stellium because, as you know, Mars is already there. So we'll add 2 more planets by the end of this week. So the energy is shifting. Some of you might be feeling a feeling of sort of moving towards something, or that there's a shift about to happen, or that in some way you have to make some decisions or get some things done. And indeed, today we are feeling that in a sort of irritating sort of way as Venus and Saturn, remember him, duty, responsibility, construction, regeneration of, or destruction first and then leading to regeneration. So Venus today in a sesquiquadrate, we've talked about this one, it is a square and a half. So if a square is a 90-degree angle and a half square is 45 degrees, you would add them together. This is a 135-degree angle between planets, and it's a bit scritchy. It isn't one that goes down smoothly. It challenges us. It makes us do something. And today, this particular doing, let's say, is around the details rather than the bigger picture. So for the most of the summer, well, at least most of the last month, we have been in creative mode, where with the focus of energies in Leo, we have creative and imaginative energy. We are talking about desire and what it is that we want to happen in our lives, and what is it that we wanted to do in our work, what did we want our relationships to look like. So there was a lot of this creative energy that was building, and it is now coming to a culmination point right? As the other planets are getting ready to shift over into Virgo, the last little guy that'll be standing in Leo for the time being is Mercury. And next week, he even leaves Leo for Virgo. So we're really in this process now of filling in the details of our creative imaginings, whatever it is that we are working toward. If you're building a website, if you're working on a new art project, if you're doing some kind of project in your world, the work that you do, or if you're doing something at home, maybe I know Natasha, one of our listeners in the morning, she seems to be doing a lot of housework type things, re-roofing and cleaning up space and so forth. So wherever it is that you've been doing where some of the creative work has been moving into reality, now is the time to put the finishing touches on that, or to at least put maybe filling in the gaps. That's the way I was kind of looking at it this morning. Like, if you're looking at the project, what's missing? Well, hello, dude. What's missing in the project? What little gaps can you fill in? So that is a thing that we can work on today, because we may be challenged because we can't really finish up the project. We can't launch the website. We can't launch the project, the program, until we actually have all of those little details filled in. Now, that means there can be worry energy. Saturn's involved. Saturn tends to put a downward pressure on our emotions. A melancholic streak runs through the day sometimes especially when we have Moon and Saturn. But Venus and Saturn can cause a little bit of worry in our minds as whether we are going to have enough money to finish a project or finish the month out, or are we going to have enough relationship energy, or our partner's going to let us down in some way? Or are we even aligned with our values? Are we aligned with what it is that we really wanted to be doing? Are we committed to the right things, right? I pulled the card out today. We're going to talk about this card. This is the card of commitment in Rosie Aronson's deck, the Wisdom Keepers. Here's the front of the cards, the Wisdom Keepers Oracle deck and Inner Guidebook. So we've been periodically reading, the energy of the day through her guidebook. And I think I will do that today with this Gate of Commitment. And that is the question then, are we committed to the right things? Or are we only half-heartedly committed to what it is that we are working on? So we'll be taking a look deeper at that in our own personal lives. And there's a patience that is required of all of us at this point as well, because sometimes we want to push and we want to push and we want to do and we want to get it done, and we may miss our manifesting generators sometimes miss the things that they were meant to do because they're pushing, right? They're going fast. And sometimes we've got to stop and look back and go, whoops, I think I needed to do that step. Well, manifesting generators can go back if they need to and do that. Generators, we presumably have been putting one foot in front of the other all the way along. And for those of you who are the non-sacral beings, hopefully you have not been out there pushing the river. You've been waiting for people to invite you in if you're a projector. You've been initiating and not holding yourself to completion if you're a manifester. And if you're a reflector, hopefully you've had the patience enough to wait long enough, the full cycle of the moon, before deciding what you do next or what comes next. So patience is required. Look for the details today, as opposed to just the bigger picture. In the bigger picture, it all looks fine. But if you take that little magnifying glass and you look in, you might find a couple of things that you forgot. So today's a great day to do that. Now, something else is kind of interesting happening today as well. We are preparing today for a Mercury trine Jupiter aspect tomorrow. So tomorrow it becomes exact, but they're already very close together. Mercury today is at 13 degrees 5 minutes of Leo, a fire sign, and Jupiter is at 14 degrees 35 minutes of Sagittarius, also a fire sign. So these two are less than a degree apart, or just a little more than a degree apart from one another. So this is a building aspect that's occurring. And here, when I see these two planets together, Mercury rules the mind and our communication. Jupiter is about how we're going to grow and evolve, and it's optimistic. It sees the bigger picture. So where today's energy forces us to look at the details, there's also this building energy behind the scenes to see the bigger picture. And to me, this is a mind opener. The trine between Mercury and Jupiter acts on our minds to be more expansive, to see the bigger picture, maybe even to rise up to a higher level, to be able to look in and see things from a bigger perspective, right? So we have that. This is an idea generation kind of aspect. So some of you may be filled with ideas. You may be feeling like I really want to do this and I want to do that, but you have to be able to focus some of this energy as well. Mercury is focus. And there's also the fire energy with both of these planets. Mercury, an air planet in a fire sign. What does air act on fire to do? Fans the flames, right? Makes it bigger. So there's a lot of creative energy that's expansive and moving through the field, as well as Jupiter in Sagittarius, also a fire sign, and it is fanning the creative energies, the truth of what it is that we want to do, or how we want to express ourselves, or how it is that we want to show up in the world. So the two of these planets are already gathering that strength, right? They're applying to the exact trine, which won't happen until tomorrow, but it doesn't matter because it's already building. And these are two powerful planets, right? One, an inner planet that is focusing your mind and your ideas and your communication on you personally and what you want to say, how you want to say what you want to say. What is it that you want to create? Jupiter is being more of the social planet, kind of in the middle between the inner planets and the outer planets, and is focusing more on what it is that you're going to share with society or with your community or with your group. Does that make sense to everybody? If anybody has questions, let me know. I'm going to go through here. Good morning. Seems like strange energy today for me. Debbie, you know what? That was me yesterday. And I can't believe, Michelle Shiaka, I see you out there because I was thinking of you so strongly yesterday. And I was like, I have got to look her up and talk to her just to see what she's doing. And here you are. I love it. So Debbie, yesterday seemed to be the strange day to me. Like, I was probably the clumsiest ox. I am an ox, by the way, in Chinese astrology, which is too funny. But I was the clumsiest I've ever been yesterday. I spilled my iced tea on my keyboard. I never do that. I never have drinks close enough where I can move it with my hands, which I talk with all the time. But yesterday I did. I had it right there. I was, and I managed, luckily, to clean it up before I think any damage happened, because this morning it's still working fine. And then I tripped over something. I was hanging up my new hummingbird feeder, and I had taken the pliers and I was pulling the little S hook apart, and somehow I slipped with the pliers and the hook goes flying across the yard. No clue where it is. I looked for a good long time. I couldn't find it. It was just everything yesterday. I felt out of sync. And today, maybe, Debbie, that's what you're feeling, is that out of sync with the energy. I can't even pinpoint where that was coming from an astrological standpoint, but it could have been yesterday trying to push into doing things that I wasn't quite ready for. I don't know. Sometimes we just don't know. And sometimes we just have to be okay with it's a weird day and the energy's weird. So maybe just relax. Yesterday, what I ended up doing late in the day, after I was done with everything I had to do yesterday, I sat down with my Kindle and found a really good ghost story book. I don't even know what the name of it is, but I started reading that. And at 8 o'clock last night, I was still reading it. It caught my attention. So find something that you can focus your attention on, and maybe that will help move through that energy. Michelle, we have definitely missed you. Oh, and by the way, I did get an update on our Michelle Gay from her daughter last evening, that she came through the surgery. She was doing good. Today's her birthday. And so poor Michelle's in the hospital recovering on her birthday. So maybe if you guys can look it up, her last name is spelled Guay, Michelle Gay, and maybe wish her happy birthday and best wishes for her healing in the hospital. I sent her birthday wishes this morning. I have not heard back. So I don't know where she is in her recovery. She's down in Seattle, so she's not really close where I could just go run in and say hi. But I just wanted you to know she did come through and she's doing well, apparently. Suzanne Fulmer, good morning. Linda Crouch Dennis, good morning. Allison, good morning. I loved that meme that you posted on the Academy page yesterday. I may, with your permission, take it and share it with the whole of the group. It was lovely. Good morning, Mimi. Great to see you, Kristen. Good morning, Chanel Lynette. Yay, good morning to you. Natasha, good morning. Debbie says, yes, it's been a very irritating day so far. And good morning to you, Asa. Kara, Dawn, Goodwin, good morning, Allison. Everybody's just saying good morning. I love it. Debbie Hedden, good morning. Camille, projectors, yes, I am patient. Aries moon, though, ooh, that can sort of trigger the impatience factor. So kudos to you if you can stay in patience as opposed to being impatient. Not in. Bridget, good morning to you and great to see you. I don't think we've seen you here in the morning show, so welcome. Debbie says, happy birthday to Michelle. Lots of stuff just aggravating. Oh, I know. Natasha, yes, today feels like a day to settle and finish what I've started. The roofers will be done today and hubby's birthday, so his gift to tidy and clean the house. Acts of service is one of the top 5 languages of love. Go for it, Natasha. Mimi saying happy birthday to Michelle and sending healing. Allison, of course, how about Ginger? I haven't heard about Ginger yet. I thought maybe I'd reach out to her husband a little bit later. She was having a little more invasive procedure done, and I suspect that maybe she was more groggy after invasive. One's going into your brain, the other one was going into the body. So same thing, right? But I have not heard from her yet. So I will let you know as soon as I do. Camille, organizing small things. Good for you. You know, sometimes if we just go with the flow of the energy that's available to us, we can stop, any number of energies around conflict or confrontation or irritation. I mean, yesterday I was just getting so irritated with my clumsiness. I finally just said, okay, I'm going to curl up over here and read a book, because if I do anything, I was even like, I'm just going to make salad for dinner because I don't want to burn something. It was just one of those days where I just knew that I was out of sync. And how can you screw up a salad, right? That was the easy thing. I didn't screw up the salad. So to do what you can. Just remember, today's a day to focus more on the details and maybe not make those big decisions yet, right? Those big key decisions maybe are better placed in tomorrow's energy as opposed to today's energy. So it depends on how it is that your own chart is set up, of course, but that would be my advice or my wisdom, is to maybe just look at the details, re-look at the plan, tend to the little things that, you can tidy your house or organize the small details. Tomorrow we can get maybe a little bit more bigger perspective on things. There is something else interesting in the charts this morning that stood out to me, and it's one that we've talked about, the part of fortune before, and the part of fortune, it's an Arabic form that we use in astrology, and I believe it's also used in Hellenistic astrology, which I don't see Ashley Imbernown here this morning, but she was studying Hellenistic astrology, and she was using my part of fortune and part of spirit and so forth in a quick reading that she did for me, which I'm hoping she's getting ready to do readings, because Hellenistic astrology is completely different than what I do, and I would love for her to come on and maybe share that with us. And so Ashley, if you're listening later, contact me and let me know if you're ready to do that yet. But the part of fortune really shows us where joy is found. In your own personal chart, the house it's in shows you that area of life where if you could do it all day, you would do it, and the time would fly, you would never notice. And in a transiting chart, it sort of shows us where collectively we can find happiness and joy right now. Well, it is sitting today at 28 degrees of Taurus. And Taurus, of course, being the sign of being grounded, being in love, and that love energy, Venus energy, beauty energy, earth energy. And Taurus energy is loyal and trustworthy and lives from its values. And so we have the greatest part of fortune for all of us collectively in grounding in and being in the joy of living, right? The joy of being on this planet, the joy of being in interaction with one another. Taurus is a love sort of sign. It's a relationship sign. It's ruled by Venus. And it is where a lot of things come together in a nice way. Now, it is paired up today in a conjunction with the asteroid Sedna. Now, I'm not sure whether to qualify Sedna as an asteroid or a dwarf planet. I've seen the word planetoid used for her. I've seen dwarf planet. Who knows from an astronomer's point of view what it's called. But from my point of view, this is a piece that is gaining in focus and in our worlds, because it was discovered not long in, I think it was in 2005, and we're sitting at a point now about 14 years later where we can really see the effects of this particular planetoid in our astrology charts. We've got enough people having studied it, etc. Now, Sedna is an Inuit goddess, and she is a goddess that is sort of the, she sort of is the Persephone in myth. In the Inuit myth, her father is trying to pawn her off on a man so that she can marry and, move out of home, right? It is that the child that can't quite seem to loosen the apron strings, as opposed to the Demeter Persephone myth, where mom is having the trouble of loosening the apron strings. So here's where we have some immaturity. And the immaturity is that we're afraid to let go and to fly and be on our own. We're still holding close to safety and to security, the safe harbor, instead of doing what we need to do, which is letting go. And Sedna suffers for her inability to let go of dad, because dad does the most unthinkable and pawns her off on a man that is really a dog in disguise or a fox in disguise. And in some myths, it's a raven in disguise, and he's cruel and he's mean. And the father sees that and takes pity on his daughter, Sedna, and tries to save her by taking her back from the husband. And in the process, the husband is angered and he causes the sea to froth, and Sedna is lost to the sea. And she perishes in the depth of the ocean because of her immaturity. So here we have the part of fortune lined up with immaturity. Ooh, what does that mean? My guess is that it's time for us to grow up. My guess is that we have been teenagers now in terms of the ending of the Mayan calendar, the cutting of the puppet strings, and it is time for us to get in alignment with what our creations are. So I don't know if any of you looked up that movie, The Family, that we talked about last week. I still haven't watched it. I still cannot bring myself to watch it. But my friend's wisdom in it was the fact that we are creating our reality. So we must take responsibility. We must mature enough to see that our thoughts and the way that we focus our thoughts are creating this reality. And so if you're focusing on all of the negative, if you're focusing on all the I don't haves, the glaring holes in your life as opposed to the fullnesses in your life, then you are participating in the chaos of the planet and not the truth and beauty and glory of the planet. So, and we're all doing this, right? I mean, we all get involved in that lower frequency energy. So it's not that you're bad or that we're stupid or immature. I mean, in a way, we are kind of immature. It's that we have to become more responsible for our creations. And so that means also that you have to let go of any places where you still feel the victim, right? When you still feel like somebody else out there did this to you, or where circumstances of your childhood set you up for this, or where everything you do bites the dust and you don't know why, and it's, just the universe doesn't like you kind of thing. Those are victim energies, and we have to learn to move through that and to remember our power. right? Our power being called back to us in this particular time and being able to live from that point of view. So I thought that was just an interesting thing to see this morning at the 28th degree of the sign Taurus. So we are getting ready to move out of this Taurus energy then into Gemini energy, which takes on a different sort of meaning, I would assume. Okay, questions, anything here? Camille says, I understand. I literally thought Sunday was Monday all day, even took my trash to the curb. I was really surprised yesterday morning when I woke up and it was Monday. Too funny. Good morning, Susan Bronlin. Great to see you. Camille says, an Aries for me, Sedna. Aries is the home of Sedna for almost all of us. And that is because it is an outer planetoid, and so it moves slowly. It's in the Kuiper belt or the Cooper belt or whatever people call that, which puts it outside of the normal ecliptic plane. So it's out there with the likes of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, and takes a while to move through. So most of us have it natally in Aries, but it has moved, of course, now into Taurus, or it has been in Taurus. Okay. Now, what else is going on out here? I think that's it for the comments for now. So let's take a look at the Pleiadian-Earth energy of the day. So for those of you who are new listeners to the show, we explore the Pleiadian-Earth energy calendar every day. And the Pleiadian-Earth energy calendar is based on a 13-day week, which there are 13 universal energies that we experience, and there are 20 earth energies that we experience along with the universal energy in different combinations throughout the month. So the month is not a 30-day month. It is different in the way it works. And it is also one that shows us the spiral of consciousness and how we are moving up in the evolution of consciousness. So today we find ourselves in 6 universal energy, which is the energy of flow, the energy of movement and travel. It is where we have to make some kind of movement. We have to take a step. We have to move forward. It's more dynamic. Yesterday brought us change. Remember, we were in the energy of 5, and yesterday was just sort of crazy and weird for me. So today I'm hoping today is about movement and flow, and I can see again the path forward. Along with that, the earth energy of the day is exploring energy, which was Ben in the Mayan calendar. Now, Ben represented a reed. And the problem with a reed is that it is rigid, and reeds have to be developing that ability to flow, to bend and yield with the weather, with the wind, with circumstances in their environment. And so today what we have is, in exploring energy, we have to encompass a broader view of the world. We have to see ourselves as a part of the world and not separate from the world. And that means that those of us who, and there are a few of us out here who we're, politically, we're just like, oh my God, I can't believe what's happening in our world. But we also have to own that we're a part of that, right? That's what this energy is about. We have to be able to harmonize the opposing viewpoints out there in the world. Harmonizing doesn't mean that you give up your viewpoint. It just says, I get it. I see where you're coming from, right? It doesn't mean I'm not making you wrong just because you believe a different way than me. So that's what we're talking about today. It's another indication for a good day for traveling. Avoid being rigid today or getting stuck in a rut. Avoid being critical of yourself or of others. Remember, we're adding to that Virgo energy, and Virgo is a perfectionistic sort of sign. They can be critical. They have a critical and an analytical mind, and sometimes that comes out toward other people in ways that can be considered of criticizing and not just critical thinking. So be aware of that today, right? So, all right. Now I wanted to go into this card of commitment, and she's just these cards that Rosie Aronson, I had her on the show a few months back. She created this deck of cards based in the gene keys. And also because the gene keys are based in human design, there's sort of this affinity. They go back and forth. They blend with one another, although the gene keys looks at things through a dimensional lens. So we get to see ourselves through the shadow of this energy, through the gift of this energy, and then through the highest expression, the highest frequency or siddhi of this particular energy. So, oh, I have it over here. Let's take a look at what this all means. The sun is the body that is sitting at gate 29. And that's what this gate of commitment is about. And it starts with a clear decision is felt as a quiet and powerful warmth that courses through your whole being. The gift here is commitment. The shadow is half-heartedness. And the siddhi, or the highest expression, is devotion. Here's the wisdom story. My parents always called me the free bird. That was their sweet way of saying I was an unreliable flake. I was always flitting about from romance to romance, place to place, career to career, always starting what I couldn't finish. So when I finally found social work and a wonderful organization that suited me well, everyone was thrilled, including me. I worked there for years. I grew within the organization, loved the population, and felt my life was meaningful. But after 7 years, I found myself overcommitted, burned out, and disengaged. My heart yearned to be somewhere else, doing something more creative. I wanted more space in my life for intimacy. My colleagues and staff had no idea how half-hearted I'd become about the job. I was lying to them, and I was lying to myself. I was also terrified of leaving. They needed me, and I certainly didn't want to risk quitting or failing or seeming unreliable. So I waited and waited. Each time someone dared to quit the agency to go after a dream, I felt jealous, like I was on the sidelines launching other people's happiness while watching mine drift farther and farther away. To top it off, I felt even more trapped. Without me, who would train the new people? Finally, just as I spilled 16 ounces of coffee all over the giant pile of paperwork on my desk, it hit me. That's interesting. The timing would never feel right. I could never guarantee that my next step would be a success, and I had no control over what others thought of me. Suddenly, a warmth ran through my body, and I knew what I had to do. The following day, I gave notice. While I will always cherish my time working in that organization, I have not looked back, not once. I have no regrets. My gift to you. I am here to give you permission to say yes to life, to trust it fully. It is time to hold nothing back. Don't worry about what others think or expect from you. Beware of giving your power away to a teacher, a guru, or a system. Fly brave and blind as you embark on your path. And remember, few things are less healthy for you than half-heartedness. So whether you are succeeding or failing, do it with a full heart. Stand by your decisions. Trust your in-the-moment guidance. Honor the stream of your experiences and relationships until each cycle reaches its natural completion. Do these things, and there will be no need to worry about the future, for the seed of your dreams lives in the heart of your commitment. It's all about the journey. That's amazing. So there are some questions for contemplation, and I will read those to you if you would like. I will also post them up in the Living Astrology page so you can write them or copy and paste them yourself into a document. Maybe you want to work with these. The questions are, where in your life are you overcommitted? Where do you feel like a slave or like you're being taken advantage of or abused? What in your life, a job, a relationship, a way of being, needs to come to an end? What do you fear might happen if you honor and follow through with what you know to be true? Where are you lacking commitment? Where are you living half-heartedly? Are you saying yes, but then not following through? Is there a frustration, fear, or anger behind your seeming flakiness that you haven't fully owned? How can you more deeply commit to the needs of your soul? Think of a time in your life when you experienced devotion. Where in your life today are you satisfied with your level of commitment? Honor these experiences in your journal. Great questions for contemplation, right? So if you'd like, all I need is one person to say, hey, post that. I would like to work with that. And I will do that. Camille, okay, I thought that would be true. Thank you. I'm not sure what she's talking. If you have planets at 28 degrees, will it be triggered? Oh, yes. So, for example, Asa, my own son, is sitting at 28 degrees of Gemini. So I fully expect that there's something that I'm not seeing. Isn't it interesting? I told you guys earlier I spilled tea in my keyboard yesterday, and in this example she spills coffee or something all over a giant pile of paperwork on her desk. Well, literally my computer is like a giant repository of all the papers that I don't have, that I just keep everything on my computer. So I thought that was interesting. It is a beautiful card and much needed. Post it, please. Thank you, Allison. Thank you, Asa. She also said that I will post those for you after the show this morning. So lots to think about here. Tomorrow, we'll take a look at, I avoided the Earth today at gate 30 because I still have not squared with Rapture. So I'm going to have to square with that. Do you guys know who this card is? There was, when I in the discussion with Rosie about this deck, she said there was somebody, because I said that the cards sometimes remind me of people. Like I look at a card and I'll go, oh, that reminds me of so-and-so, or, you know, a star or something like that. She said there was only one card that she modeled after a person. Can you tell me who this is? And this is lightness. This is humor. This is the Earth sitting at the gate 30. We'll take this one up tomorrow. But that is Robin Williams. Isn't he? That's a gorgeous card, just a gorgeous card. So we'll talk about that one tomorrow, giving myself a chance to look up Rapture and to get squared with that word. So also tomorrow, it is the day I will be on the radio with Annette McCoy in Australia, 5 p.m. tomorrow, my time, 8 p.m. for those of you on the East Coast. This is a podcast on Blog Talk Radio, and you are absolutely welcome to call into the show and get a mini reading. So a couple of you have already requested that. So hopefully you'll call in so I can do that for you live on air. And that is it for me today, guys. I don't see any other questions popping up. Yep, Asa knew who it was. Robin Williams, awesome. So thank you all for joining me this morning. I hope you all have a blessed day. Thank you so much for joining me here and sending blessings to both Ginger and to Michelle. Mwah! See you all tomorrow. Bye now.